Hello, 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 everyone. It's really amazing to see you after such a long weekend. I hope you enjoyed your Easter. And it's for the first time in quite a long time that we had people on Lent and people on Ramadan. It has not happened in a very long time. So there was a lot of not eating happening last 1 month, but I hope you guys are doing well and you are taking care of yourselves and you're taking care of your families. And the cold in Nairobi is not finishing you for the people in Nairobi and for the people in the diaspora. And that I mean anyone who is not from Nairobi, whether you're in Kampala, whether you are in Nakuru, Mombasa, and wherever it is you're tuning in from. It's lovely and a pleasure to see you this evening. My name is Grace Nzula. I am the host of Get It Right with Atara Solutions with my colleagues, Catherine and Kevin. You are tuned in to Get It Right with Atara Solutions. This is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We have been doing this since 2020. We did 2020 June to December, then we did 2021 May to November, and then last year we did January to December. And here we are again. We started in January and we are trusting and hoping to continue throughout this year and continue making impact. So we are privileged and feel honored that you sacrifice your Tuesday evenings to join us for those who are have made this year home. So we appreciate you. We love you. We appreciate that you share our flyers as well. So thank you so much for being a member of Get It Right with Atara Solutions. The program is called Get It Right with Atara Solutions. And we also have a WhatsApp group if you want to join us. We are here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we have been doing this with quite a number of partners. And this season, we have a number of partners, and allow me to just say, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. It brought to you by Atara Solutions in partnership with the following companies. The first one is a Stallion Construction Company Limited. Stallion Construction, like the name spells it, is a construction company. If you're looking to renovate your house, if you're looking to subdivide your office, then Stallion Construction are the people for you. And then we have Pathway Solution Services. Pathway Solution Services, like the name, or rather no, they create pathways for you. They have a learning system called they have a learning management system. This is an LMS, which has a lot of information on training. So they have been offering our followers trainings on their LMS. LMS is learning management system. Last week we had quite a number, probably 10 people get to be trained on networking in the company and out of the company. The previous week we had people get trained on entrepreneurship. The week before that, we also had people who were trained on sexual harassment. So we appreciate you, Frank. Sorry. We appreciate you, Frank. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for keeping it, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. We are honored. And if you're looking for people to do trainings for your organizations, look for Atara Solutions, look for Pathway Solutions. They'll be able to deliver for your organizations. And then we have HRMPEB. HRMPEB is Human Resource Management Professional Examination Board. If you're looking to do your CHRP, if you're looking to become a certified human resource professional, you can apply for exemptions at HRMPEB, and then you can join a college and then sit for the exams. HRMPEB is the CASNEB for those in Kenya of HRs. For those who are in other areas of the continent, you can also become certified human resource professionals with HRMPEB. And then we have Panessa Training Institute. Panessa Training Institute is a woodworking shop. We actually have an intake for May. Please check out our social media pages, especially Instagram. We have announced the new intake, which is happening in May. And then we have Weeklin. Weeklin is a carpet cleaning and carpet cleaning and sofa cleaning company. By the way, they did my sofa on, I should take a photo, I forgot. They cleaned my sofa on Saturday, and they do such an amazing job. They have a machine, a carpet cleaning machine that cleans carpets within 6 minutes. So they're able to do 24-hour delivery just because they do pick up and delivery. They pick up, they'll come to your house, remove the carpet for themselves, go clean the carpet, and then come and lay it again for you. So there's no inconvenience, and you don't have to worry that it's gonna rain or something is gonna happen to your carpet. No. And then we have Suluhu Mediation Center. If you're looking to become a certified professional mediator, then Suluhu Mediation Center is your best bet. I did my CPM with them. They are wonderful. You can check them out. You can also get in touch with me. They have classes, they have Saturday classes, they have weekday classes, they have evening classes, they have classes on LMS, and they have virtual classes, and you can also take a whole week of sessions with them. So this is happening at Suluhu Mediation Center. And then we have Profiles International. Profiles International is a company that deals with profiling people. And also it's the only company that offers Gino's emotional intelligence certification. And they have an awesome training that's coming up on understanding psychometrics. So if you're here and you keep wondering what is psychometric, you keep wondering why do people use them, where do they use them, how do you administer them, and all these things, then you need to join their class that is starting next month, in the month of May. It is starting on the 9th to 25th of May. 9th to 25th of May. It's going to be on Zoom, and it's only for 48,000 shillings. And that's almost a whole 20 days of class. So that you can get to understand psychometrics, you get to understand how to construct them, and then you also get to understand how to administer and how to read them actually. So do not get stuck if you're a HR professional here. Marvin has put the details on the chat. Please make sure that you follow up. You can also contact me and I'll give you further details. And then we have Kapula Mintito. Kapula Mintito deals with coastal snacks. If you're looking for Mabuyu, if you're looking for cashew nuts, then Kapula Mintito. And then we have El Samea. I hope you guys managed to go to El Samea this weekend. It is a beautiful, beautiful hotel located in Naivasha. They are right at the lake. It has the most beautiful view. Actually, you have a view of the lake from your room. It is such a beautiful place, such a quiet place. If you're looking for a place to go sit and think, if you're looking for a place to go and for a romantic getaway, then this is the place to go. We're also looking to just go and have fun. They have such expansive land that you guys will not know that you're even in the same place. And then we have Purpose. Purpose deals in technology. If you're looking for an ERP, they have one. And then we have Steadfast Quality Management. This is our Ugandan partner. This is headed by Herbert Zake. Herbert Zake is, you are a wonderful human being. You are a wonderful friend, and I'm honored to call you my friend, actually. Thank you for sharing our flyers. Steadfast Quality Solutions deal with HR consulting and public relations in Kampala. So if you're here and you're wondering how do you manage people in Kampala, and you need something in Kampala, please let me know. Herbert is able to sort that out for you. Now, on to the business of today. Tonight, we are looking at alcoholism, otherwise known as alcohol use disorder. And we decided to start off with a twist because normally we'd bring a mental health expert who will tell us about alcoholism or something, you know, just from an expert. But sometimes you realize, sometimes you go through things that you want to understand from a person who's actually gone through them. So and tonight we are fortunate to have Mr. Daniel Orenge. Mr. Daniel Orenge is not afraid to say that he is a recovering alcoholic. And I actually, he has been doing quite a number of things, including sensitizing people and just giving people hope on matters alcoholism and just trying to give people hope. Let me just put it like that. I hope I got it right. So he's a recovering alcoholic. He has embraced his recovery journey with all the seriousness it deserves. And through this, developed a formula that has kept him not only sober, but also placed him in the direction of purpose pursuit. He offers to help addicts who are stuck in the vicious cycle, support to those in recovery, and then he offers support to families of those in addiction. He engages in talks like he's doing with us here tonight. And he wants to, on a mission to reduce stigma on alcoholism. And I was just sharing with him before this call that I was having a chat with someone this afternoon who, we have a client who, one of the employees is actually suffering from alcoholism, but he has not even accepted it. So the lies that come with why he's missing work, including killing his own parents. Do you know those tiresome things, huh? But yet here he is. And to what extent can we support? To what extent can we let them go? To what extent, what can we do? To what can we do not do, you know? So, okay, sawa. Somebody is already asking for your contact. I told you. So Daniel, tell us, how do we get through alcoholism? How has your journey been like? What are the highs? What are the lows? What are the lessons? Please tell us.
Thank you. Thank you for that brilliant introduction, Grace. I appreciate it. So, as you have mentioned, my name is Daniel Orenge, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. Now, many people don't like that term, but in this life, perspective is everything. So for me, I'm recovering everything alcohol stole from me and what else is pending that it could have taken from me as well. So for me, that's what recovery is. And why we call it recovering is because it's a strong reminder to the alcoholic that never in your entire life can you drink alcohol responsibly. So you and alcohol part ways. But the beautiful thing is, once you discover and accept that alcohol is the one thing that was going to finish you, life is set for you. You have defeated that one major thing. So I'm sure between me and God, our contract is, Daniel, you will pursue everything I have for you just as long as you stay away from the bottle. So today I would like to, I can share my screen now. It's just going to help as a guideline. I know, just to make sure that I cover. Cool. So what time is it? Okay, great. So as I've mentioned, I'm a life coach, and I founded a business by the name Demon Wellness, which is a journey through various lifestyles. It aims to enhance and empower ventures geared towards promoting great mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness using my main tools, which is my voice and my real life experiences as mediums of creative expression. Ever since I discovered my recovery, I've all been about wellness. Wellness is components of several factors. And whenever you're in your journey of sobriety, how you stay sober is what we describe as wellness. So being sober is not just about staying away from the bottle. It's about trying to be your best self, and being your best self encompasses wellness. So that's why I set up Demon Wellness. So we're going to go into this discussion about what exactly is alcoholism. And we all know, because we have been told on TV that alcoholism is a disease, but we don't understand what that means. And that's why we still treat alcoholics the way we do. So it's a chronic disease characterized by uncontrolled drinking and preoccupation with alcohol. So for me, I found myself stuck in that cycle of addiction, alcohol addiction, for about 12 years. I stopped complaining, I stopped crying. God's grace got me out of it. I have seen many who have died, so I'm grateful to be here today. So why isn't alcoholism widely accepted as a disease, hence it being stigmatized? So a large body of research indicates that stigma is persistent, pervasive, and rooted into the belief that alcoholism is a personal choice reflecting a lack of willpower and moral failing. Rates of stigma are extremely high both in the general public and even at the workplace, due to the lack of understanding of how exactly alcoholism is a disease. Now, in Kenya, let me talk about my country. I don't know about for the diaspora. I mean, alcohol is a substance that is widely accepted for recreational use, and it's so deeply rooted in our culture. So then the question is, how does it make one sick? We call it a disease. So I'd like us to understand alcoholism, and I'll back it against my story. So you can see why people for a very long time, including myself, never understood what I was suffering from, because this is a social thing. So how in itself is it a disease? So it's a sickness of the brain. That is number one that you need to understand. And it has to go through stages before it's full blown. So stage one, we call it the initiation or pre-contact stage. So this stage is called initiation, during which this time the individual tries alcohol for the first time. I don't know if all of you remember when you first had a drink. I mean, I do remember. I think I was eight years. I just tasted it, and there was nothing extravagant about it. Just the memory of how bad it tasted then. So moving on to the second stage, it becomes experimental. It's called the experimentation stage. So here the user has moved past simply trying alcohol on its own and is now taking it in different contexts to see how it impacts their life. Generally, in this stage, the drug is connected to social actions such as experiencing pleasure or relaxing after a long day. Now, at this point, all of you have seen Dan. You drink with Dan. So there's no signs of this being a disease, because we are very sure about how diseases start. But here we are having drinks, we're drinking alcohol, but later on, Dan is slowly becoming sick. So for me, growing up, I had a very strict dad. And so I couldn't wait to get to Form 4 when I'd finished high school and experience a bit of freedom. So I came out and I ate life with a big spoon. And I started partying, I started going out, and I went to, after high school, I went to St. Mary's IB, which is almost like Form 5 and 6. Now that's where I had my first interaction with alcohol. And I remember we had just won a rugby game. And after that rugby game, I was so looking forward to having alcohol. And I can imagine, I remember when a friend of mine gave me the bottle of Smirnoff. What I did is I filled a glass I filled the glass up with that Smirnoff and I drank it flash. And I think I did it 2 times. I don't know where I was rushing to. But anyways, I was trying to, as I said, catch up with life. I felt like I'd missed out on a lot. What happened next is an obvious story. I blacked out and I became the burden of the party. Now, my brain there had been just exposed to what this alcohol is. And in the coming events, I kept on looking forward to any opportunity to go out, just so I can partake of that bottle. Because it was like a wow moment when I drank it. So my parents realized that, let's move Dan from St. Mary's IB, because he's not concentrating on his studies. He seems to be having fun. And let's take him to university and let him finish his degree so he can start off his life. So I went to USIU. And at USIU, made friends. And I believe at USIU is where stage 3 kicked in for me, which is called the regular use. At this stage, a person continues to experiment with alcohol. Its use becomes normalized and grows from periodic to regular use. This does not mean that they use it every day, but rather there is some sort of pattern associated with this. At this point, social users may begin to taking their chosen drug alone, in turn taking the social element out of their decision. So for us at USIU, drinking started on Thursday. So, that was now the pattern. Every Thursday, you'd save money to go and drink. And of course, we are children in university and you do not have money. It's only the Nigerians who had money to drink beer. We would go and buy the hard liquor and we would drink. And we were young. The body had strength. And the good thing is that I'm very grateful to the fact that even growing up, I've always been very athletic. So since I couldn't play rugby, due to the lack of support I was getting. It was a bit of a frustration. I used to take out all my energy at the gym. It's very important that I mention this because battling addiction is not just quitting one thing, it's replacing it. So whenever I would be consistent with exercise, I would not drink. But immediately I would just decide to have a drink with my friends on Thursday. It would be a slippery slope, and I would engage and engage and engage. Now, the unique thing about my drinking is that I used to black out each time I used to drink. I never used to make it throughout the night. I remember people having a nickname for me. They used to call me cracker because I used to crack, I never used to. And I used to wonder, is it an issue with tolerance? So every time I'd be drinking, I'm trying to drink to stay awake the whole night. But you think you did, but you didn't. The following Monday, you're being told how you still slept. So that should have been a red flag, but who knew? So stage 4, risk use. So the individual's regular use has continued to grow and is now frequently having a negative impact on their life. While a periodic hangover at work or an event is acceptable for stage 3, at stage 4, instances like that become a regular occurrence and its effects become noticeable. Many drinkers are arrested for a DUI at this point, and all the users will likely see their work or school performance suffer notably. The frequent use may also lead to financial difficulties where there were none before. The alcoholic will develop habits such as borrowing or stealing money, neglecting responsibilities such as work or family, and losing interest in old hobbies. So for me, stage 4 came in as I exited university. By the grace of God, I finished. I know people who didn't finish. And so in university, you're under the care of your parent, food, shelter. I was staying in a room in Roysambu, shelter. So you can get away with many things, and alcoholism can have its way. Now, immediately, daddy's care moves from you and you have to be independent is when things become tougher. So I tried my best to keep a job, but at the end of every day, I'd find myself either looking for cheap alcohol and marijuana. Now, marijuana used to be the shortcut to getting high because we didn't have enough money to drink alcohol. So you'd buy a bit of marijuana, then you top it up with a bit of alcohol and you're fine. But still, tomorrow, the effects are the same. You'd be hungover, you'd go to work. I remember even doing my internship, which I did not fully attend. I think out of the 3 months I was to do it, I did 1.5. Because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at times. Monday, Tuesday for sure I was not there because I was still trying to nurse a hangover, and Wednesday is when I'd show up. Now, the problem with these hangovers for alcoholics is that we don't stop drinking. We try to add a bit more, thinking it will make us feel better with a common name, which means kutoa lock or remove the padlock. And somebody once told me removing that padlock is actually putting on a bigger one. So this went on. So I started struggling with keeping jobs. I had a job. After that, I was moved to EABL, which triggered me into more alcoholism because it was the norm for everyone to drink. So I'd wake up and have breakfast as beer. Now, this is the risky use. I'd go through the day, and as I'm going around during the Mutuzo days selling alcohol, we're trying to spearhead the selling of spirit. I'd have my spirits in the back and I'd drink every day. So remember, this is not food. So this is slowly damaging your body. And also your productivity is not at its best. So this went on and I couldn't keep my job at EABL because the alcohol definitely had its toll on me. I remember going to see one of my bosses and he stepped back because I was reeking of alcohol. And this was second generation alcohol. And he told me because I was not at the region which I was meant to be, that they had to let me go. Now, that was very disheartening for me because at that point in life, you are seeing your friends moving on, getting jobs, getting cars, and you're still here battling with addiction. You don't even know it's addiction yet because the Kenyan media has made it normal, Remember the adverts we used to hear growing up, mbili mbili kama kawaida, those things are still playing in your head and you think it's normal. You're just drinking socially, but you're drinking every day and you have a problem. Now, some people had told me and had mentioned to me that, Daniel, you have a problem with alcohol. But when somebody tells you that, all you think they're talking about is your discipline. Even them themselves, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just looking at the outcome of you drinking. So I lost my job at EABL. Then fortunately, I was able to get another job at Crown Paints. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the names, but it's out of the basket. So, and I got a very good job there. They were flying me out of the country. And I think I needed mentorship because I was just having fun. I would sell. I believe I'm very good at selling. I would sell, but not to my best, not to my level, not to the capacity that is expected of me. And I remember the Indian boss smelling alcohol on me and telling me, you're just here to have fun. Now, after losing the Crown Paints job, that was now another blow to me because it was either I moved back home, and moving back home was a bit far. And when you move back home, you're subjected to home chores. So you start feeling like a loser. So after that point, I started engaging in more use of marijuana, and I started engaging in other cheaper options like the common substance called mugoka. I don't know if they sign language for mugoka. I'd like to see that. But it's cut, it's cut, cannabis, a cheap version of it, the leaves. And I used to chew that a lot, and it used to make me, the thing about that thing, it makes you feel smart, and that's something that people do not realize who are using it. It makes you feel like you have everything in control. It's a stimulant, But in the real sense, it's the one chewing you. Your years are going down the line and you don't know. Because I still have friends who are stuck in there. And I speak about this because I know how that substance, Mogoka, is very deceiving. So we're still at stage 4. And so for me now, I'm using marijuana and I'm chewing Mogoka. I try and look for money. This is where you're seeing I try to borrow money from friends with the pretense I'd paid. And you even, in the chances of getting another job is close to nil. But anyways, so we move on to stage 5 and 6, which is dependence and addiction. So individuals at this stage feel as though they can no longer deal with life without access to their chosen drug, and as a result, lose complete control of their choices and actions. Now, I stepped into this when I was staying with some friends. I moved in with some friends in Langata. I used to sleep in their sitting room. And these are people who are younger than me, who are still in university. But I was running away from reality as I was still trying to pursue work. I ended up then getting a job at Britam as an insurance agent, which I still did well. But at the end of the day, when you get a bit of money, the first thing you want to buy is alcohol. So all my money used to go into alcohol and marijuana. So I remember one of my bosses telling me that, Daniel, you can do so well selling these products, but your challenge is alcohol. But no one is telling me how to get out. So I met my wife, a very strong woman. And one of the reasons why I did love her is because she did not pity my state and she did not see me for what I was. She saw me for who I can be. And that's a very rare trait nowadays, finding a lady who sees what you can be and trusts the process. Everybody's looking for somebody who's already microwave man. So we started dating, and she always used to think that Dan just loves to drink. And the good thing about my addiction is that it had no room for cheating. The only thing I used to focus on was her and my addiction. So she used to be content with that. She's like, if you want to look for Dan, Dan is sitting somewhere by himself with his computer, either reading a book, but he's chewing and he's drinking. Now, the problem with now isolating yourself with these addictions and things like that is that many men will not talk about this, but this brings in other addictions. And I'll say it here, it brings in the addiction of pornography. That's something that I've also battled with, but I thank God immediately I dropped the alcoholism. That is now something else that I'm winning in. So that's another area where I help men. And I also want to sensitize young boys with this digital era. There's so much going on around and you might not know what your son is being exposed to. Pornography and masturbation is the devil. It's the worst thing. No one should ever lie to you that it's okay. It is another hole on its own. So, yes. So we continued dating and we got my firstborn child. Now, by this time, mind you, these things I'm taking are not food. This is hard second generation alcohol. This is marijuana. You're not eating well. You're punishing your body. And I'm not exercising anymore. So soon enough, of course, the first instance of hospitalizations happened. The night I remember I couldn't go out because I was feeling like my body is shutting down. And I told my wife, let's just stay indoors. This is before I got my firstborn son. But when I woke up in the following day, I was in hospital on a drip and they were trying to flush out the alcohol. So everybody who knew me thought I had been spiked. Somebody had put something in my drink. But literally the body was now crashing. So that was the first incident. And then moving on with our lives, we got our firstborn child. Then when I got my firstborn child, I got another attack that landed me in hospital. It's a long story. And I don't have the time to go through all of this, but I've tried as much as possible to share these stories on YouTube to my level best. Maybe I'll act it out one day. But I had to be admitted more than once. I mean, you'd find yourself just drinking and drinking and drinking. And this is hard liquor. And nowadays, the liquor for then and the liquor for our parents' time was a bit more original. Now, what people are drinking is just sad. So this would damage my body, and I'd find myself admitted. And I was fortunate to be working for a company that covered my insurance, my medical insurance, inpatient. So there are times I remember the first time I was admitted at Nairobi Hospital. I remember one of the doctors asking me that, Daniel, did you win a bonus? Did you get a bonus? What were you celebrating? And little did he know that this has been consistent drinking that has gotten me there. The second time I went to hospital again, I will not forget this because through my addiction, I got to know my God more. I am a born-again Christian, I must say, and I got to see God's hand through my addiction. There was a time my phone stopped working and I took it to Safaricom to be fixed. When they fixed it and I put it on, it asked me for an emergency number. It has never asked me this, so I just put my wife's number for the sake of it. And I went back to my addictions. So 2 weeks later, I was feeling depressed in the house. Insurance is not working out for me. I need to pay rent, behind on rent. Every day, my life is around the same thing. So I went and met one of a brother. He should have been an in-law, but that didn't happen. And he passed. He was also an alcoholic. And he had money. So I knew I'd easily drink with him there. Moving fast forward, so we drank the whole night. And the following morning, I left so I can go home and take my child for clinic. But on the way back, I was not fully awake. And I had a blackout of how I found myself in hospital. But the story is, as I left his premises, and I was in a matatu, and I got to a place in Kiserian where I was meant to board another matatu, I started having this. There was something that used to happen to me that used to make me walk like a madman. So I was walking across the road. My wife used to see this a lot in the bedroom, and she'd know there's a problem here. I'd walk, and no one was helping me. But some thugs came and they took me. This story was narrated by the taxi driver. Sorry to cut the story. But so they took me to a corner and they wanted to go rob me. And some taxi drivers came and took me who were watching and wondering what's wrong with this guy. And they took me, put me in the taxi, and they went into my pocket. Because the first question I asked my wife is, how did you find me? And she said, some taxi man found my number on your phone. That's when I knew God was teaching me something, that he was with me through it all. Because if that number wasn't there, they would not have found the pattern to unlock my phone. What would have happened to me? The potential of me dying was very real. That was incident 2. There was incident 3 and incident 4. Even in incident 2, the same doctor who came to check my story and he saw it's done, he went, it's you again. And I was so embarrassed, but I didn't know what I was going through. And he put on the report, alcohol something. And I knew Britam won't pay, but they did. And I think it's a boss who God used and said, just pay for that, Kijana. Now, the thing about addiction is, even after I left hospital, I would still lie that we stop somewhere pretending I'm going to buy Afia juice. And I go and buy Mira. And I would lie to myself that all I want to do is chew. But you chew, next thing the body wants a drink, and you're back to the same cycle. So that's what happened for me for very long. And I eventually got a job where I am right now. And there was an instant where my boss noticed that Dan has a problem. I'd love to share so much about in between. I'm just choosing clips that make sense for you and the discussion today. And there's an instant when he asked me in 2018 when I had missed work for a week. And he asked me, Daniel, do you have a problem with alcohol? And even him, he drinks. So I told him, no. He said, okay, fine. We will not let you go because I know you need the money and he knew I had children. So one of the reasons why I even used to I used to advocate for Mogoka because Mogoka used to suppress the craving for alcohol. But at the same time, it's its own devil. It keeps you up at night. It robs you an appetite. And it was just a vicious cycle. So if I'm not chewing, I'm drinking a lot. So to not drink a lot, I have to chew. God, it was crazy. I mean, but my wife was there with me. But still, she went through a lot. And my children used to see me suffer, And there are things I used to fall into called stupors. And stupors were bad. It's like immediately you break out of the control, you go into a week of drinking that cannot be stopped. Otherwise, your body will react violently. You have serious withdrawals. So this went on for a while. And just so you can understand, and I hope this can play, I would like to ask you guys a question. Do you think this guy chooses to be like this?
Que isso, barato? Que isso? Calma aí, cara. Vai cair. Deixa eu dar na boca. Ei, mano. Tira na boca. Tira na boca, cara. Pega aí, cara. Cachaça. Pega aí. Deixa eu dar na boca. Calma aí. Ué, cara.
Now, that is what I hope you saw the video. Thanks for the nod. Now, that is stage 7. Now, most of the times we look at these people and we just judge them as indisciplined, as people who are the scum of society. Why can't he just stop? No one is telling you what exactly is happening to this gentleman. And we start stigmatizing them. And what stigma does is it constantly leads to denial from the addict in regards to their situation, always claiming to have some level of control for fear of being labeled as indisciplined or being ostracized if their friends, co-workers, boss, or neighbors become aware they have a substance problem, especially for ladies who are heavily stigmatized because of society's expectations. For example, it's not considered normal or okay for a lady to be seen staggering. Yeah. Many ladies really shy off from talking about their recovery because of stigma, especially when people are talking about wife material. Many ladies shy off from this discussion. So for me, where I decided to get help is I'd gotten my third born. I have 4 children. Yes, it's still possible to have 4 children. Where I decided to get help is after I got my baby girl, there's a time I missed work and my boss was very angry at me. And he decided that we should have a meeting. And when we had a meeting, I think he had thought it through. So he asked me the same question he asked me in 2018. Daniel, do you have a problem with alcohol? And I finally accepted. And I said, yes. At this point, I had been doing my research because my sister who used to date the gentleman who I told you was also an alcoholic, had told me, I've seen this, try rehab. And I was like, rehab is for mad people. Who is going there? And even my spiritual dad, when I told him about rehab, he said, Dan, you're fine. But you see, the thing is, people don't see you at night when you're busy walking around. When you wake up on the floor and your family has gone to sleep in the sitting room because they were scared. You were yelling at night. It's like you were possessed. No one is there during that. So what my boss told me is this. He told me, as a friend, Dan, just I'd advise that you get help. But as a director, I'm going to let you go. My heart sank because my second born was going to join PP1. Then he told me, but if you decide to get help and you do treatment for 3 months, he had no idea what he's saying. Doesn't mean I just think it's God who was just using. We may consider taking you back. And that is what I clinged on as I walked off from the office, going to Chu again, Mogoka. As I walked from the office, and I sat down with my wife and I told her, I have to go into rehab. And I don't blame her for not understanding, because she thought there were other options that would mean that I still be at home. But I knew myself well enough not to be able to fight this addiction from home. So with the support of my brother and my cousin, we were able to go and look at rehabs, and I was able to choose one that I felt was okay. And I was able to choose one that had a gym. It had stones, and we were just carrying stones because I really wanted to rekindle my passion for exercise, which I still do aggressively till this very day. So when I went into rehab, I will tell you about what happens at rehab at a later stage, which is almost at the conclusion of this. But my question, I'm sure many people are asking, is so what makes one an alcoholic or susceptible to alcoholism? Now, this is what I learned in rehab, and it's a fact. Research has been done and has been found that alcoholics possess a gene, an allergy, known as the X factor, that lies dormant until exposed to alcohol. Now, this gene is genetically passed down, and issues of alcoholism can be traced in the family tree. If you look at somebody who is suffering from alcoholism, if you see in their family, yo, shida iko hapo. But the problem is not shida ni tabia, it's not the behavior that is passed down, it's the gene. Now, I smoked cigarettes, but I was never addicted to cigarettes. Yeah. I smoked marijuana, but I was never addicted to marijuana. It was one of the easiest things I dropped. Why? But there's somebody in rehab. So we all have something that our body reacts to. So what then happens is that this allergy causes irregular spikes of the dopamine hormone when one partakes. This then leads to the addiction causing sickness, as we know that the dopamine hormone is the happy hormone. So as you're sipping your alcohol, me, I'm flashing a glass because my brain is like, wow, what is this? I want more. So as I'm drinking, I am not aware. I'm oblivious of the damage it's doing to me because of what it's doing in my mind. So I become dependent on this dopamine release. And the goalpost keeps shifting. That's why you stop beer and you move to hard liquor. I used to drink a whole bottle of whiskey and not get high. So, but the consequences were the same, hospital. So I'd have to try and balance it out with chewing miraa here and there. You know, you're my own doctor in its, you know, you could call it that. So when I found out this in rehab and I was told, listen, it's a gene in you. So there's a book that has been written called The Big Book that has so many stories about how alcoholics all over the world have tried to drink responsibly in vain. So once you learn this, you know that you and alcohol part ways. It's not about you. It's about the gene. It's not about your discipline. So immediately you embrace that, you're in a better position to get help. So alcoholics are defined in two categories. There's the daily user and there's the binge drinker. I was a daily user. I had to drink a bit. Some people will tell you that I only drink over the weekends, but when they start drinking over the weekend, they catch up for the last 2 months. The tap they don't know when to close or how to close the tap. You know, they binge, and that is alcoholism. If you have any sort of dependency that has been developed towards alcohol, know that you're an alcoholic. The faster you know this, the better, because you will keep on trying to pretend you're not. And the question is, why are you trying to avoid this truth? What is it about alcohol that is so precious that you want to prove to the world that you can drink responsibly? How about cut off from it for a while and see a different side of you, yeah, which I am seeing in my recovery. So the question is, how do we help the alcoholic even at the workplace? Number one, let's have such forums that create awareness and demystify alcoholism. And then there's this use of words that can reduce addiction stigma. Research indicates that use of person-first language is essential for stigma reduction, focusing on the person and not his or her condition. Example, terms such as substance abuser is more likely to worsen stigma the use of person-first language, such as a person with substance use disorder. And then let's recognize that treatment works. And let's offer these options to the alcoholic. You know, most of the times, whenever you're telling an alcoholic that it's an alcoholic, I remember the first time I was told by my friend, I asked him, am I an alcoholic? And he told me, yes. My heart sank because immediately I thought, I am the scum. I am somebody who is a letdown. I am at the bottom. Alcohol has finished me and nothing good can come out of me. But even in his capacity, because he had knowledge on this, he should have told me, Dan, you cannot drink responsibly. It's an addiction caused by a gene inside of you. So we need to get you to get some sort of help so you can wean off the alcohol and start a new life of recovery in a nice way. And that's where I come to fit in, to try as much as possible to offer hope. Because if I sit down with an alcoholic and tell him my story, it's the same for all of us. There's nothing different. So treatment options available include, there's AA. So attending physical or virtuals to get support and be in a community that's core mission is to help the suffering alcoholic out there. AA is very good because you'll find somebody saying, I'm 30 years sober, and you go like, what? Yeah, you find somebody saying, I'm 1 week sober. You get motivated that you're not alone because most of the time you feel like it's a problem for you by yourself. But once you get into a community, you can relax and get help and get tips. And I've seen people get sober. Then there's outpatient treatment. One can get the services of a certified addiction counselor at the comfort of their homes. Then there's treatment centers, which should be the new term instead of rehab. Rehab is just spoiled term. They even need to change that name, Madare. Let them call it something else. This is a recommended option, especially where there's a serious dependency. Then there's halfway houses, not too popular in Kenya, but they're there in case somebody needs to maintain business and work and needs to move around. So he leaves home and he goes, he gets counseling and he gets the treatment there as he starts his journey of sobriety. So all these options help one go through a program known as the 12 steps, and one continues to work these steps for the rest of his or her life. This is what we call recovery, as it is a spiritual program that keeps one walking in accordance with the will of God or his or her higher power. They use that term higher power because it's easier to digest for somebody with no religious background. So when you go into rehab, you ask for God's help because everything else has failed, and he truly comes through for many alcoholics because we are normally at the bottom and God normally hears the cries of those who are down there as long as you embrace his help. And not only embracing his help, walking in his ways. So the 12-step program helps you walk straight because alcoholism taints your spirituality. You become a liar. You become so many things because of this addiction. But now in recovery hopes to restore you to who God originally wants you to be, or who you used to be before you first had your first bottle. Yes. And with that, I get to the end of my presentation. I believe I have kept as much time as possible, and I hope I have been able to engage you as much in my story. But as I've told you, my story is long. And if you'd want to have a look at it, there's my YouTube page. You just look for Daniel Orenge. There's Facebook, Daniel Orenge as well. There's Instagram, which is at D-Man Wellness. And then there's my phone number. We can keep talking and we can see how we can help each other in this life. Asante sana. I'm ready for any questions.
Wow, that was deep, Daniel. That was deep. That was deep. And I can just picture you walking around Rongai. You know, Rongai towards Nkoroi, and just staggering your way, and you cannot hold it straight. And also for the women, and how society judges women, especially even just actually in rural areas, if a woman is seen in a bar, you're labeled, you know, leave alone being in Mama Pima's place. And it's quite an enlightening session, and I really am grateful that you agreed to join us and just share your story. Now we have people who are asking, now what is this? Okay, somebody has said AA on Mondays, Swahili Big Book, Living Sober, Traditions, Wednesdays. Okay, fine. So we have somebody who's, we had a question on how people can join the AA, and I think that has been shared there. Please check on WhatsApp if you wanted to know how. But Daniel, there's this thing that we have had, yeah? How do we help people who are in denial? People who we see them digress, I mean, just going deeper and deeper into it. And as people who love them, as people who want to support them, as people who, they are our family members, they are our brothers and sisters, they are our husbands, they are our wives, they are our parents. How do we help them? What can we do? Or must we wait for them to hit rock bottom? So how do we help those ones before I ask my next question? I'm sure I'm asking for 1,000,001 people.
Great. You know, one of the reasons why my family couldn't help me is because, first of all, they didn't know what I was suffering from. My mom used to quote verses like, put down the flesh. And I'm like, "I flesh imenishika mashati," you know, how do I put it down? So first of all, for you, just understand what I've told you and take it home, that it is in your, even somebody you love, even you probably, your child is susceptible to alcoholism if they decide to drink. So this knowledge is very important. So it's a gene. Once you understand that, this should be able to help you love this person, because this is all you know. Whenever you're happy, alcohol. Whenever you're sad, alcohol. Anytime, alcohol. So what you're trying to tell this person is stop this thing. So the only thing you can do is love this person as they are and pray for them. Have people give him or her options that could work. Remember, this is a journey. You cannot change somebody. It's only God who changes somebody. This is a journey, and all you can do is provide the support that God, because you're a conduit of that support. Bring people who, like myself, who can talk to this person and just get them to understand that, first of all, we're not blaming you. We're just telling you that this is your predicament. And you did not get into it willingly. That person there was shaking, did not take his first drink knowing he's going to go there. No one enjoys addiction. So it's continuous talk, prayer, and slowly their hearts warm up, because there are days we wake up, when my days of addiction, with a bad hangover, and you ask yourself those hard questions. Is this what life has to offer? And then they will remember your words. One day they'll say, you know what? Let me try AA. One day they'll say, let me try this. Let me try this. I am tired. Yeah. So just shower them with the love you can. It's not easy, I know. Don't feel bad, Sana, when they steal from you. They're going to buy medicine. I'm not advocating that you buy them alcohol, but just understand they are sick. If I couldn't get that, the day I pushed my mom, she fell on the floor because I wanted to go look for a drink and I didn't have money. That tells you what was going on here. Withdrawals are very, very bad. So understand that they're sick people. Just love them and keep on praying for them, and bring people, resources around them, people they can talk to who can warm them up to the idea that they can get help.
Wow. Okay. Now the other question I have is, I had a case in at the workplace where we had an employee who was an alcoholic, and we really tried. We paid for his what do we call it? He came and said, Grace, I'm ready to go for rehab. I am ready. Da, 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 da. We went round, we looked for a rehab. We sent him to that rehab. We paid for it. We have those, is it every 6 weeks visit or something? We'd show up to show support, and we sustained his family at the time. But I'm telling you, Daniel, as soon as he left, he was discharged on a Thursday at 2 o'clock. That was it. By 4 o'clock, I was called and I was told, your guy, he's actually in a trench. And I was like, we have just spent 300,000 shillings on his treatment, not to mention how much we've been sustaining the family on. And as in, he could not even last an hour.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Treatment, or doesn't stop only at rehab. There are very many factors that you need to look into post-rehab. Number one, that's why they say, what's your discharge plan? Like they engage the family and find out, first, can you get this guy working? Can you get him a job so he's not idle? Number two, for me, I always advocate, if possible, I mean, the more expensive rehabs allow you to start exercising those things you want to try out there. But you need to substitute your addiction with something else. You need to find out, what did you used to really love when you were younger? And you need to find a way of encouraging that person to do that. For me, I believe exercise is very important, because once you've exercised, you're tired in the evening. You have no room to think about that. Then environment, you might need to change environment. Environment, if triggers are everywhere, somebody will fall back. You might just need to consider, when this guy leaves, let's move him to a new place, let him start afresh. At times, you might, if you can afford it, you might need the services of a counselor. I've seen some people go into halfway houses, so it's like you're being weaned off. So unaenda kazi, unarudi kwa hiyo nyumba. You leave, go back to that house. That is all possible, but there are cases, I'm sure, many cases where people can't afford that. And the most important thing is that they should join AA. And let's keep talking. It's a journey. It's a journey. And at times, some people need to get to rock bottom to make up their mind. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth. At times, because if you still have reservations, you might have to get there. But there are things that need to be checked before somebody is discharged, because the real exam is outside, not inside. Yeah.
I think, oh, sorry, Grace.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think that's very profound, and it actually leads on to a question that has been asked by Caroline Mungai. How about the people who call themselves functional alcoholics? Like they can juggle work and booze, and everyone, even themselves, feel proud of it. What can you say about that, Mr. Daniel?
Actually, just to piggyback on what Kevin has asked, my friend who is on this call, I have 3 friends, and outright, they are actually functional alcoholic. In fact, one of them does not walk straight. Unfortunately, he works in one of the alcohol, whatever companies, but he does not walk straight, ever. But then I have 2 of my friends. One is actually sick. Those ones of the doctors have said, please stop drinking. But I'm telling you, in the evening, he just can't, you know. He'll try and do it for an hour, for a day, a week. And then next week, he's full blown. And he's the kind of guy who will take a whole Glenlivet, a whole bottle, and he'll drive home like nothing happened. Like he will even remember everything that happened last night, as all of you have forgotten what happened last. So what is this functional alcoholism? By the way, in this Nairobi, a lot of people are functional alcoholic. But tell us more about it.
Okay. That functional alcoholism, there's a question we once discussed, that if you have an uncle who is doing well in life, has money, and is a functional alcoholic, can anybody tell him anything as compared to the one who is always asking for money? Everybody will be busy pointing fingers at the other. Now, what I can say with that term functional alcoholic, that's just ego. It's just ego. The truth of the matter, as you're calling yourself proudly, because it's a proud statement, when you say I'm a functional alcoholic, you're trying to justify that, you can sustain yourself. But all that is short term. One day you'll ask yourself this: how much money did you spend on alcohol? How much? That's one thing we do in rehab. We do an estimate. When there's a challenge with money in your retirement, I'm not saying that it will be, or when you're reflecting on life, because one thing about age, you reflect. How much money have you spent? How much time did you waste? Because you're not drinking with your kids. You're not drinking with you're drinking with people who are not real. How much time? Those are the real questions, yeah? And then sickness is around the corner. Alcohol is not food. Sickness is around the corner. There are some diseases that will hit you one day that you cannot afford. So when you're busy saying I'm a functional alcoholic, you're justifying something that is temporary, because consequences are coming. Your body, God didn't make you come here and function as an alcoholic. That's the truth. So we just have to be real with each other. If you can find a way of staying sober for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, you will see a different side of you that is so loved, so creative, so brilliant. Kids will enjoy time with me. Kids are enjoying my time with me, bonding. Can go to the gym with them, they're having such a good time. And like then when I was tired, always tired, when people are saying they're functional, they're not telling you about the dark moments. There's always the dark moments when you're by yourself, and you know what alcohol does. It's a depressant. So there's that. So let's be real with each other. Let's be real with each other, because there's a cost to accepting to call yourself that, and that cost will be dealt with. They say it's either you deal with the pain of discipline now, the pain of regret later. Choose.
Wow, that is quite deep. And there's another question from my teacher. Hello, Mr. Kashewa, Dr. Kashewa, it's good to see you. He says, what do you do with alcoholics who are not willing to be helped? I'm talking about, okay, we have answered that one. So this Silas was saying, I'm used to drinking every time I'm free from work. I don't drink while working, and I believe I'm good at what I do. I know I have a drink every time I am at it. And we also have, how long were you in the treatment center? It's also another question.
Okay. To answer the first lady, you're a binge drinker. The good thing for you is that you just need to replace your habits. There are people exploiting this world, climbing mountains. There are so many things to do in this world than sit down every weekend and drink. God didn't make this world for us to sit down and drink. There are so many things you can do. The good thing with you is that you still have some level of control. But the problem with that binge drinking is that you still think that you have it under control. And I'm sure you're also concerned about it, is that someday it will steal an opportunity from you that you will not get again. Some people still joke around with binge drinking. There was a guy who I saw, he just died. He was knocked by a car when he came from drinking. There was such things. And I don't think that's the ending that was deserved for us. So for anybody who's a binge drinker, if you have some level of control, try and think about how else can I use my time and save that money. You'll save money, by the way, that's number one. And then there's so many things you can do that will improve your health. You can learn new skills. You can go back to school over the weekend. You can do this so much. So there's a cost to binge drinking. So don't get comfortable there.
Okay. There's another question here from Sarah. Okay, first of all, people are asking how you can be reached. So you'll share your contact details. They would like to engage you for training or to have talks about this. But Sarah is saying, how can you help counsel someone who believes his alcoholism is associated with witchcraft?
Yeah, I saw that question. I don't blame anybody who associates it with witchcraft. And with our culture, it's very easy for people not to understand. Me, my uncle used to see, my cousin used to see me, and my mom used to see me acting mad. You act mad at times when you're having a withdrawal, or when you are at your lowest, you can act mad. And people will just think it's witchcraft. Yeah. So I don't want to argue with that discussion, but I think it's just a lack of knowledge. It's just a lack of knowledge. The truth of the matter is that what that person is suffering from is continued. He's been exposed too much to this addiction. And as I've told you, it messes you spiritually. You feel so, you want to kill yourself, because of who it has made you. So all this, because when you go to rehab, there's the treatment, they treat the alcoholism, they wean you off it, they give you medicine to sleep, medicine to increase your appetite, just to stabilize you. And then now they do the spiritual process, the counseling, which is very important. Yeah. So it's not witchcraft, but it would be easy to, so I understand why people would think so, because of what the product of years of alcoholism could lead into someone looking like a Merogwa.
Okay.
Okay. Towards the end of your presentation, Mr. Daniel, we had Mr. I don't know if I'm right, Madangani Muya. They had asked that you had described alcoholism as a disease. Why?
Yeah. Because it's a sickness of the brain. When somebody drinks alcohol, I'll say this, and I don't know where to share my number. Do you mind sharing it for me, please? I'm trying to focus
No
on the
problem.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a sickness of the brain. When somebody partakes, because it's genetic, everybody reacts to different substances differently. Mine, because when you go into rehab, they ask you, when you start AA, what's your substance? Mine is alcohol. So when you drink it, the effect it causes in your brain, from what I learned in terms of your dopamine release, is very irregular as compared to the social users. Now that's what starts leading to a vicious cycle. That's what causes sickness, because now your life starts to rotate and your life starts to depend or exist around the bottle, because your brain now, even food stops being a joy, even sex stops being a joy. Everything now is identified with alcohol just because of that spike it causes. There are people who have different addictions, and it's centered around that. And that addiction is a disease of the mind. Yeah.
All right. There's another question. So is there a network? Yes, I saw that from Madangani, and thank you, Caroline, for telling us. Is there a network to help caregivers of alcoholics cope with supporting the addicts? So this is like family, spouses, children. Is there a support system for them?
Yes, it's called Al-Anon. Al-Anon was started by Dr. Bill's wife. I can be able to connect you to that. Dr. Bill is the founder of AA. And they used to always go and sit outside, the wives, and wait for their husbands to have their AA. And then they realized, Allah, we can start talking. And they shared so much and they feel a bit relieved. So yes, it's called Al-Anon. It's there. It's a support group for people who have loved ones in addiction, where you can go and share and be encouraged.
Okay. The question, I think a lot of people are frustrated to see their family members deteriorating, and quite a number of questions like, how do we help them? We have lost one brother to alcohol or to alcoholism. How do we help the other one who is also in the hole? And quite a number of questions on that. And I think you answered it, but maybe you can also sisitiza that they can only love them and be of support and be there for them. Or call Daniel,
the reason
speak
why
to them.
Yeah, I can help as much as I can. I mean, may God give me the strength, and I think He has. The thing is, one of the reasons why your loved ones refuse to get help is, first of all, how you view them. So that needs to change. It needs to start with you. You need to understand, because when you're viewing them, there's a way you can view somebody. As much as you love them, there's a way you can view them that would make them feel like you're not, you don't understand. The times I used to tell my mom, you don't understand what I'm going through, So secondly, they need to understand themselves that it's not a problem with them, with their character. It's a problem with the gene. They just need knowledge. Me, when I was told that, I was like, okay. So it's basically saying that I cannot drink alcohol responsibly, and then slowly introduce them. Let me tell you, these people have their lowest moments, especially after drinking spree in the morning when the hangover is bad, because the effects are still the same. They do have that, and they'll reflect on what you said. So just share kind words, give them options. Say, try AA. Talk to people who have gone through what you've gone through, because you are destined for great things, and it's not you, it's a disease, and we need to work together and see how we can get you help.
Okay. Doris is saying, when they're drunk, do they remember what they say or do? Because they can do really hard things.
Don't talk to them when they're drunk. Go to the room when they're hungover.
Okay.
Now, when they're drunk, leave them alone. When they're locked themselves in the room, the hangover is really bad. Go and talk with love. Just go talk with love, not with judgment. No. Go talk with love, because you understand what it is they are going through. That's number one. Kama uelewi, you will still be the same. Yeah, and it's also good to bring somebody else, because at times we know this is my brother, this is my dad. They must say these things, so it's good to hear it from someone else.
Okay, and I like what Christina Chanya has said. Christina Chanya is a psychologist. Yeah, she does counseling and also helps people with alcoholism. And she says alcoholism permanently changes your brain chemistry, so it becomes a brain disease. That is to also answer what when Daniel said, and that's why alcoholics are recovering. They're not permanently like saying, they don't say I am healed completely. It is normally I am recovering from this. Yes, we are almost done. I had told Daniel we might push to 9:15, and I see it's already 9:15, and people are telling him, Daniel, your time's up. But right, there's somebody who said that Nakada has a toll-free number, as well as a referral to accreditation rehabilitation centers, which can be found on their website. Thank you very much for that. Daniel, you said alcohol may lead to displeasure of many things, yet others drink to gain confidence with strength. Oh yeah, by the way, there was another important question. Somebody talked about his problem are his friends, and he thinks that his friends are very important. How does he deal, or she? I don't know whether it's a he or a she. How do they deal with friends? Because he says that he's very sober. Actually, it was a he because his name starts with Mr. Says he's very sober during the week, and then as soon as he meets up with his friends, he's done. How do you handle this?
My question to him is, where is the problem? The problem is, first of all, you don't like what is done with your friends. If you feel like, first of all, what are we talking here? Are we saying that you don't like what your friends, that environment they bring? And I know what friends can do. If you want to stop that, as I've said, it just has to be a decision that you have to make. And that's not the end of the world. The friends I have now, amazing friends, amazing friends. And one thing is, when you make up your mind, you'll find that there are three types of friends. There's one who wishes you well, all the best. There's one who will try to trigger a friend, who will try to bring you back. And there's one who will be inspired by you and will also make a choice. So you could be that one person in that group who could make, because let me tell you, some of my friends now are actually pushing to live lives of sobriety because of Dan. They go like, if Dan can do it, and this is what is happening in Dan's life, I need to keep myself in check. Not that they had a problem, but one thing my CEO told me, alcohol has an issue with everyone to a particular extent. We just don't like to say it, but we know. So you can decide to have, like, if you don't think you have a problem with alcohol and you socially use it, give it breaks. Give it breaks, have sobriety checks. It's very important, because sometimes we don't understand. We can make it a coping mechanism. And these things take over you and you don't even know.
Wow, yeah. Wow. And let me just give a shout out to my friend TK. Thank you for joining us. It's amazing to have you around. Right. Okay, Henry, I will run another session. Actually, this was part one, where we get to hear from somebody who's lived it. And then we have a doctor coming in from Nakada in about a week or so, who will also run us through the other side of things now, as we seek to, our mission is to change the world through information. So the more informed you are, the better decisions you can make. And for that reason, then we seek to bring in as many and relevant speakers for you as we possibly can. And of course, this webinar series is brought to you by Atara Solutions in partnership with Profiles International and Human Resource Management Examination Board. Now, Eda Kangede, your hand is up. Dan, I promise 5 minutes will be done. Yes, Eda, 5 minutes will be done. Eda Kangede, your hand is up. I allowed you to talk. You can unmute yourself. I don't know whether you wanted to say something. Eda Kangede?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, sorry, I think it just, I touched it by mistake, but I think what I can say is thank you, Daniel, for that session. And maybe what I can propose you can include is show people these other activities that they can do apart from the binge drinking, because I find problem with most Kenyans is that they value drinking, and if you propose these other activities, they find them as boring and they don't want to engage, and they think the only pastime that they can do is basically drinking. So I think, Grace, you also have a role in sensitizing people on alternative activities rather than just clubbing and binge drinking, because from this, some people will end up being alcoholics. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Kevin, please check out what Frank is saying on WhatsApp. Thank you very much for that, Eda. And Dan, as you list that, also answer for us. Do you think hard love is a good means to promote recovery? Tough love.
I mean, tough love coming from where? You know, tough love, if you understand what addiction is. Remember, this is a disease that has its own, you need to handle it very differently. I mean, tough love would make somebody withdrawn from you. You need to be open enough for this person to come to you whenever they need help. So I think you need to be very, you need to really understand what you mean by tough love. Okay. I mean, alcoholics need support. I don't think there's any toughness in it. And that toughness will come. I think it comes about, especially when you yourself do not understand what alcoholism is. If you're still associating it with discipline, that's when you become tough. But if you understand that this person is an addiction, they don't need tough love. They need you to be gentle. They need you to understand. They need you to empathize. You know, that from there, there'll be fruit of somebody willing to take the next step. So I would not advocate for tough love.
Okay, and the question from Esther, what other things can they engage in? You said exercise?
I'll say one thing. You know, when we were growing up, I have asked this question: what happened to us? We have really been conditioned by society. When we were growing up, when we were younger, we used to have fun. We used to do things. Let's remove the alcohol. Let's go back. What are the things we used to do for fun? And I think why we consider them boring is because we haven't done them in a while, or you have not joined a group. So there are many things you can do. There's cycling, you can go learn I mean, how much money do you spend on alcohol? You can use that money, go and learn an instrument. I mean, there's so much. You can go and learn dance classes, you can go and go back to school. You can do things that build you. Remember, you're substituting it for things that build you. When it comes to coping mechanisms, there are very many ways. Number one, friends you keep. Make sure your friends are people you can talk to and be honest about life's challenges. Coping, I always say, exercise is good. Have some sort of walk you do every evening, so you can meditate and unwind or jog. If you can go join a gym, join a gym. The list is endless. It's just that this drinking has made our thinking narrow, but the list is endless. There's so much you can do to replace that. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know whether there's something on Facebook, Kevin. Doris Mwangi.
Yes, good evening
to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Daniel or the team in general, why is it I tend to notice like alcohol addiction or even addiction to things like drugs and what, it usually happens to these bright people, you know, these like a student people. It's very hard to find addiction afflicting people who are just average, you know, intelligence. You find these bright people are the ones who tend to fall into addiction. Thank you.
Done.
Oh, sorry, I missed. She's asking why that's the tendency.
Yeah, why are the bright students the ones who fall? Yeah.
One of my administrators said there's no fool in rehab. I don't really have data behind that. I think the way God created us, like I was having a discussion with a friend right now about creatives. Like creatives are very susceptible to addictions when it's all about the genetic buildup and how God made people, you know. And one thing is that you have something in you that you haven't yet been exposed to that could equally lead you to addiction. Yeah. So for us, it was the obvious. It was the alcohol, you know, which society has put in our heads. That's why we can't think outside that. So I don't really have quite an answer as to why it's the bright one, but maybe also what they say is that the devil does not. You can't throw stones at a fruitless tree. So there's fruit there, so it must be attacked.
All right. Now, in the interest of time, because we cannot exhaust this topic, and I actually knew that we will just scratch the surface. So we have planned for a second season. And this second season, we are also going to engage somebody from NACADA, and they can also now share a bit of the scientific things to help us understand this illness better, to help us just to bring it home, to sink it better. I wish our hours were longer, then we'd have Daniel and then this person together, but we'll see what we can do. But yes, Daniel. Oh, before we get to Daniel, Kevin, what are the gifts from Pathway Solutions? What are we giving our people? Daniel needs to leave, I see. Sorry, Daniel, forever.
As always, thank you so much, Daniel. As always, Frank has something here for us. And today's giveaway from Pathway Solution is we are going to have 5 selected individuals. That is in the order of first come, first serve. You have to justify why you need a training, and the training must be completed within 2 weeks strictly. There's no extension. So we really need people who are determined and focused to finish the training. Once you're done, you'll get a certificate, and the trainings on offer are anger management, change management, health and wellness at work, stress management, work-life and balance. The trainings are going to be offered on LMS. That is, you are going to be created an account where you are going to do your e-learning at your convenient time. Back to you, Grace.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you very much, Pathway Solutions, for the giveaways. Thank you for supporting our teams. Thank you for being part of our journey to change the world through information. And yes, thank you so much. Daniel, please give us your parting shot before we say our thank yous.
Well, alcoholism is a challenge in our country. We are a nation that like to pride ourselves in how much we can drink, and many are sinking every day because of this. We have become so greedy that even the products that are being released into the market are killing our young ones. I implore you to share this knowledge with anybody out there, and I implore you to make sure that you're talking to a younger individual who's not necessarily your child. Share your story. We all have a story. Share your story with somebody younger. Mentor them because that's very important. They need people who can be vulnerable. Don't just go and talk about the good things in your life. Talk about the things you have gone through. Be vulnerable enough for them to share their experiences so we can save this generation that is coming up. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Please put in your contact details on the chat again so that people can get in touch with you directly. And in case you don't get that, then please, Kevin, you can copy paste my email and that for Frank. I think someone is asking for contact details. Life stressors and other risk factors, consumption lead to bright people to alcohol and consumption. Okay. All right. So we will upload this recording on our YouTube channel. So if you came in late, do not worry. We will also share the link on our WhatsApp group. So please make sure that you're joining our WhatsApp group. Kevin has shared Daniel's contact. His mobile number is 0733 6688 17. Again, 0733 66 8817. That's Daniel's contact details. Or you can check him out. You can see more of his story on YouTube, which is at Daniel Orenge, or Instagram, he is Demon Wellness. And then on Facebook, he's Daniel Orenge. Please connect with him and get to understand more. He can save a life of somebody. Please make sure you take advantage of the offers by Pathway Solutions. Our email addresses have been put on the chat. Please do that. And then our WhatsApp group, Jacinta has shared the link. Please join our WhatsApp group to get to know what we are discussing. We actually, last week, what were we discussing last week? We're doing networking. The week before that, we were doing entrepreneurship. The week before that, we were doing sexual harassment. Today, we are doing alcoholism. So we keep bringing in different topics that affect people in workplaces, both entrepreneurs and employees, because we have to coexist. So, and of course, we are the official trendsetters of these things in Kenya. So please, you cannot miss out any other session. Please join us every Tuesday. We are here from 8 p.m. Nowadays, we don't even say from 8 p.m. to 9. We were very strict when we began. Season 4 has refused. Even as much as we try to finish at 9, it somehow it just spills over. Do I want to apologize? No, I do not want to apologize. Please bear with us, and because it's been quite intense, these sessions, and you realize that sometimes we are not able to exhaust, and we want to give as much information as we can. So thank you, Caro. Caro says, Grace, the topics are too interesting to end at 2100 hours. Thank you very much for understanding. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. Like us on Facebook. We were live on Facebook, by the way. Yusuf Swaleh. Yusuf is here. You are a campus mate, Daniel. He was on call. So he says hello. And thank you so much, guys, for being with us. Thank you, Daniel. Please, you can log out. Thank you so much, and thank you for kuvumilia and your people around there. Wambie tumeshukuru. Wambie tumeshukuru for bearing with us for the extra minutes that we ought to have this. So thank you so much, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. Please do not forget to join our WhatsApp group. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is where we upload all our recordings. And of course, my name is Grace Nzula with my co-host, Kevin. Kevin, you can say what you want to say. Today we even forgot.
My name is Kevin Adipo.
We forgot to even allow you to introduce yourself. It is you who shared the screen. But yes, this is Kevin Adipo, and of course our sign language interpreter, Catherine Sigandi. We appreciate you guys. I personally don't take it for granted that you volunteer to do this every Tuesday with me, and you're sharing in this vision. And Team Atara Solutions, you guys are awesome. And you guys are doing a good job. So, wengine wetu tafadhali, let us go and do other things except alcohol. That is the message tonight. So please, and by the way, I learned something that if you're a child and take alcohol after the age of 25, chances of you becoming an addict are reduced. But anyway, we'll confirm that when we bring the doctor from Nakada. In one of these fine seasons. So we shall see you next week. Please, for those of you who are joining us in Zanzibar, we have the East Africa HR Convention coming up on Tuesday next week. We shall be in Zanzibar. So if you're able to join us, please do. Everyone from East Africa, every HR professional in East Africa, you're welcome. And of course, we shall still be here discussing another topic that we are yet to decide. But yes, you will see the flyers on our YouTube, on our WhatsApp group or anywhere else that you made. So thank you so much, guys, and have yourselves a lovely, lovely, lovely night. Of course, this is where Kevin shines a lot with the video and then music. Bye.